The Trump administration today pushing back hard on former President Obama's assertion that he is the reason the economy is doing so well and not the current occupant of the White House. The fight started yesterday when 44 tweeted somewhat out of left field, quote, 11 years ago today, near the bottom of the worst recession in generations, I signed the Recovery Act, paving the way for more than a decade of economic growth and the longest streak of job creation in American history. That led to a lot of eye rolling in the White House and on Capitol Hill, where Republicans were like, and then President Trump weighed in as forcefully as ever, tweeting, quote, did you hear the latest con job? President Obama is now trying to take credit for the economic boom taking place under the Trump administration. He had the weakest recovery since the Great Depression, despite zero Fed rate and massive quantitative easing. Now, best jobs numbers ever. Had to rebuild our military, which was totally depleted. Fed rate up, taxes and regulations way down. If Dems won in 2016, the USA would be in big economic depression and military trouble right now. The best is yet to come. Keep America great. It's probably fair to say that Obama started things and that Trump has stoked the furnace. But as long as things are good, does it even matter who's responsible? Joining me tonight in the studio, host of the Greg Gutfeld Show, I know that show, and co-host of The Five on the Fox News Channel. It's Greg Gutfeld. Thank you, Greg.
You're doing a great job so far. The A block was amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, I was watching in the green room, and I only threw up once.
Thank you. Well, that's about as much as I can ask.
Yes.
So, does this matter?
Well, there's two weird things about this. Weird. It's weird Obama's doing this while all this other stuff is going on.
Right.
Like, shouldn't he be helping out Joe?
Right.
Like, he totally ghosts Joe. I always say that he's like the guy, whenever you go to a party with somebody that you don't like and you try to lose them at the party, that's what Obama has done to Joe. He's lost them at the party, and now he's moving on. And then he tweets, and then you find out that he's tweeting about something else while you're at the party. And it's just, I think it's kind of mean to Joe. The second thing is that it's part of that I told you mechanism that only happens when things are good. Because do you think Obama would take any responsibility if the good times were actually bad times? So it's like when you when somebody comes into work and says, oh, that restaurant was amazing. I told you that restaurant was going to be great. But then if they came in and said they had food poisoning, I didn't say it was that good. So people only take credit. They never take responsibility. You, of all people, should know that, Kat.
Right.
It's the story of your life.
All I do is take credit for the Greg Gutfeld Show, Saturday nights at 10 p.m.
You take no responsibility for the horrible things you do.
That's true. But I just wonder with Joe Biden, when he was reading this at first, he's like, he's going to endorse me. He probably thought he was going to say, therefore, we need to endorse Joe Biden. But that's why this made no sense to me, because even Democrats have been touting this nonstop, saying he's right, got to vote for Dems in 2020. But I don't know how that makes sense because Obama's not running in 2020.
It's true. It's like he left off the last tweet, which was, this is why you should vote for my man Joe, who was with me. And it was like he forgot it. So Joe's just looking at his phone, and he's like, when is he going to tweet that other thing? And Joe and Barack's already surfing at that point. He's gone to the waves. He doesn't care. Poor Joe. I feel bad. We feel bad about Joe.
I feel really bad, especially, I mean, the Democratic Party now, it's nothing like Barack Obama. The front runner, Bernie Sanders, I mean, he makes Barack Obama look like Ron Paul.
Right.
He makes him look like a libertarian.
This is bad news.
Yes.
Do you know what this is? You know, we talk about this, about how Trump is actually, the libertarians should be happy because he's so stingy with blood. He's not so stingy with deficits, but with blood he is. The Sanders thing, there's no way out of this.
No.
If he gets the nomination, they lose because you can't nominate a socialist. If they don't nominate him, you've got Bernie bros who are going to rebel, and not Bernie bros, I would say the Bernie movement, because it's everybody.
Well, a woman can be a bro. I am one myself.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
There's about 17 jokes in there. I can't follow through with. But select a gender, for God's sake. No, but it's like people are voting for Bernie because they want him to win. Everybody else in the Democratic Party are supporting candidates so Trump will lose. So that's not a cause. The Sanders cause is they believe in the guy. Everybody else is they just hate Trump. So that's why if Sanders is out, you're going to see a convulsion like nothing you've seen in the Democratic Party. And I think, especially if Bloomberg gets it, isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
The billionaire.
The battle of the billionaires.
And one who used to be a Democrat and one who used to be a Republican, but the Republicans in the Democratic Party and the Democrats in the Republican Party. Isn't that incredible, Kat?
It is incredible.
It is.
But at least the Democrats are sort of now finally admitting the economy is good. So that's one thing.
Exactly. You know what? They had to move the argument. Yeah. They realized they couldn't win the truth, so now they're arguing over who gets credit, which is kind of like progress, I think.
It kind of is.
It is.
Well, thank you, Greg. I know you're a very busy man.
I really am.
I really appreciate it.
It's amazing that I even made it here, but, I kind of know you.
I know. We all helped him fight off the paparazzi.